It's another episode of Between Family, and I'm here with my family. Noey, Kisha, and Shanah. And guess what we're here to talk about today? The agenda. The agenda that it seems to be happening not from the LGBTQ community, but as Dave Chappelle said, it's the T's. And not all the T's. It's the trans women. Let me start off by saying that we promote love, we promote inclusivity, we promote tolerance for all people. Mm-hmm. But it appears that there are a small group of people that have decided to try to push an agenda that it seems to try to cancel out womanhood. And guess what I am? I'm a woman. And I wanted to talk about it because it was supposedly a hoax, but there was a brouhaha recently on the internet that came out saying that there was a trans activist group within Norway that was appalled because of Aretha Franklin's song Natural Woman, saying that there was no such thing. And they had tweeted that, and they were just like, Spotify and other streaming platforms needed to take it down because there is no such thing as a natural woman. Now, obviously, that had come out to be a hoax afterwards, but there has been other things in the past that have come out trying to take away certain things that have been synonymous to women, like breastfeeding, like pregnancy, like periods. Certain things that we've been saying that are things that we have done for centuries. But now they want to change the name to be inclusive to trans women. But things that have been synonymous to men for centuries, trans men aren't asking for the names to be changed. It's only trans women. Why is that? My theory is because women, we go along to get along. But men have a dominance thing. They like to take over. And men like to rule over women. And they like to think they can do whatever they want. And in my opinion, these men that have transitioned into women are now trying to take over what a woman is.
They say it's a feeling for the most part.
How can you, who've never been a woman, try to tell a woman how to be a woman? If you're going to transition into a woman, just fall in line. Like the trans men. They just fell in line. And I feel like it's almost controlling what you're trying to do with women, with womanhood. Something that we've been for forever. What say ye?
So as the oldest in this group, I've had to be turned into a woman at a very early age. I go back to when I got my monthly period, The pads were in a cardboard box at school. And they were this long and this thick. That's how long I've had my period. And look, I think where the issue is that you can't take away my almost 40 years of going to the doctor, having to spread legs open to have a pap smear and get checked for fibroids and cysts and all of those things. You be you, who you are, that is who you are, that is your journey. But don't try to make mine feel smaller. And I think that's where we won't see eye to eye. You can't compare the two. It's just like I can't say that the prostate exam that
there you go,
Noey's got is more important than a pap smear. It is two separate things. So it's just like, why can't we all just have our own journeys?
That's like saying you don't call it testicles, call it, or something like, you know what I'm saying? Like change your name to fit. Oh, you know what I mean? How are you to say, women don't get pregnant, people do? No.
You have to have a woman. You have to have a uterus.
If you were not born with a uterus, you cannot have a baby. Period. Don't try to say that, well, there's women that can't have babies. Yes, that's because of issues with fertility, or there was a time that I wasn't able to have a baby because of issues that I had.
Right.
But I got them issues fixed. You know what I'm saying? And then I was able to have a baby. But I was able to carry it.
Like, knowing that I'm a woman, and like how Chaya said, we go through issues and everything. And for the fact that you think because you had hormone changes, you took medicine, you took something to alter your whole situation. So for the fact that you think, you could just change the narrative of a woman just because, look, I did this surgery, I took these hormones, so you know what? I am a woman. Like, come on. I love you guys. I have, I accept you for who you are, but at the same time, you shouldn't make me feel bad of being a born woman just because you want to be included. Because if you want to be special, you want people to see you as well. But what about us? I want people to see me as a woman.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Just join in. Don't try to change the fabric of who we are.
That's what I was going to touch on.
And not for nothing, for these companies to actually change, like what was it? Was it Always? I don't know which brand. They took the woman symbol off of the pads box and everything, just so it could be inclusive, saying that people get periods. Negro, I know y'all ain't be dealing with me hunched over the bathroom toilet, throwing up, pain in my back, got hormones, cursing my man out every single day because I got my period. And you go sit there and say, well, I feel like a woman today, so I'm going to have a period.
Like, yeah, you want to take the period away from me?
I know. Look, as long as I've had mine.
Out of all things, I wish I could give you my period. Shoot.
Did you know what I gotta go through every month?
I have mixed emotions about this whole subject because I have a couple transgender friends that I'm close with. I have a transgender woman female that I'm close with, and she's phenomenal. I admire the transgender community because they are living their truth.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anyone that can break the chains and have freedom. There's a lot to be said to that, and it takes a lot to change who you are in front
Mhm.
of the world. And I commend that.
Yeah, it
But
takes a lot of guts to do
but I
that.
want to say to the transgender woman community that you must be very careful, because womanhood has opened a door for you. We have paved the way for you so that you can be the woman that you are today.
Mhm.
So when that song was written, it was written by a Black woman who, at that time, if you do your history, since you're a woman now, you got to do your research and look at what all women were going through at that time in different stages of history in America.
Yeah.
There was times of women couldn't vote, and women had to march to vote. Women had to march to do a lot of things, just simple things, to be invited to meetings. So when you come in on a scene after everything's been laid out for you, and you say, no, we're going to switch everything around, that's not fair. That's not fair to the womanhood that created a platform for you so that you could just hop on board and ride the train. You didn't have to build anything on that train. The train was developed for you already. We welcome you. We want you part of our team. But you cannot destroy our history because it was created so that you could be part of it. So I say that to say, if you look at the lyrics that Aretha Franklin wrote, it was by a Black woman. And back then, Black women didn't have a lot of say so. So Black women were not even deemed as beautiful. So now you want to rip that from our history where this woman was talking about feeling like a natural woman. You don't know what Black women were going through at that time. So you want to take that from our history. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. So transgender women, we welcome you to our community. But you have to be very careful of how you hurt our feelings, because we have feelings too. And we have a history that should not be erased, because you don't want your history erased. Imagine you as transgender women who are paving the way for other transgender women who haven't been born yet, that 50 years from now, what you're doing today is being erased. You will be very hurt because you worked hard for that. So I advise the transgender community, again, just be very careful because we have feelings too.
And a natural woman is what birthed you as well.
Exactly.
I mean, look, I'm not a woman, so you know what I'm saying, I feel like this is y'all topic. So I'm just sitting back and listening. I think these are valid questions. How do you question me? Now, I don't have, and not me personally, but just, individuals like me, other people like me, you know what I'm saying? Just regular, regular men, women, whatever. How do you question us, refer to us as cisgendered or doctor assigned, and, it's not natural to be this? As you mentioned, I've heard trans women literally say, well, all women can't give birth anyway, so whatever. Like, that's your argument. That's the argument that I've heard. That kind of just made me be like, I don't know about these things. But how do you question me and, I guess, my sanity or my level of whatever, when you're the one that most of the time people just say it's a feeling? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, being a man or a woman is not based on genetics, DNA, hormones, genitalia, anything like that, which to me sounds stupid, but that's neither here nor there. But you feel masculine, or you feel feminine, or you feel more like one thing one day, or whatever the case may be. So now you want to start cross-dressing or have surgeries to change your body and all this other stuff because your testosterone and estrogen levels fluctuate, or whatever the case might be. And then you're going to turn around and say that there's something wrong with other people. That's kind of like my issue. But then you got all these different names, the pansexuals and the transgenders and the non-binaries and the pronouns and all this extra stuff. And this really like reached a boiling point for me in the Best Man episodes, because it was kind of just like, all right, I was glad they laid it out the way that they laid it out, because those are the kind of people that I've personally come across. And this is what it's just like, all right, nigga. So you feel one way or the other. All right. Some days you feel this way, some days you feel that way. To me, it just sounds like, nigga, you got a problem with balance. But that's neither here nor there. Because you could be the hardest thug in the street when you're laying in bed with your woman or you're cuddling your kids. I'm sure you ain't the hardest nigga, whatever, doing that. Just chilling and relaxing. It's balance. You know what I'm saying? Your testosterone levels are going down. Those estrogen levels are coming up. It's okay. Balance. But then you start saying things that just, I don't know, to me, don't really make that much sense. Like, I'm non-binary. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, some days I feel more masculine, some days I feel more feminine, and I thought I kind of had to choose whether I wanted to be a man or a woman, but I don't. All right, well, that's the first red flag, because that actually doesn't make sense, because you don't have to choose anything. You're a man or a woman based on your DNA, like your actual body will tell you what you are. Genitalia, hormones, DNA, it tells you what you are. Nobody, that's as natural as it gets. So, all right, cool. You don't have to make a choice. That's just what you are. But obviously, that's not the way that they made it. Then you say certain things like, well, getting back to the non-binary part. To me, non-binary just is another word for confusion. That's literally all it means in my mind, because it's like, well, refer to me as they and them. Because these are real questions. Explain to me who is they and them, because that doesn't make logical or grammatical sense.
Because they is plural.
I'm going to refer to the singular version of you in the plural form.
I don't know if I have mentioned on the show or behind the scenes that, now as of January 1st at my job, when I go into people's homes and I'm looking at I could be looking at a Black person, and I have to ask them, what is your race and all that? What's your culture? And they tell me they're a white person. I had to put it down that they feel like they're a white person.
It was like this.
To the point where people could start expressing how they're feeling. So
well, that's why.
Let's go get that loan, boo. Let's go get that loan.
This is why in the show that we did with our brother Bryce, who is a trans male, I asked, so what does that mean? Can we now identify as whatever that we want? And it does not necessarily have to reference anything of a sexual nature or gender. And he was just like, no, it's not like that. You can't just, and I'm just like, why? Why does it have to end there? You know what I'm saying?
Well, apparently doors are opening, because now I have to, and if Chaya, if you said to me you're a Caucasian woman, I have to put that down.
Yeah,
nah, man, these niggas, look, man, these niggas is opening the door for stupidity. It doesn't make sense.
No, it's opening doors for Black people to get loans now.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
No, but now they say there's something called
transracial.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Like they do like a transracial adoption, like when one race adopts another race.
And this is the problem. This is how you know we living in the last days. This is how we know we living in the last days. Because there's no and like I started off this show by saying that inclusivity is something that we strive for. And it's not about hate or exclusion of anybody. But biology and science is something that I learned in school. Now, I'm not talking about race, because race is a man-made thing. Now, DNA is something that you can go through the chromosomes, and you can go through the little telescope, and you can find the DNA and the molecules and stuff like that.
They said that there was an interview. They said if you was to die or whatever, and we had to dig up your bones years from now, we will see that you are a male,
male or female.
right?
There's no getting away from that. You cannot say, oh, because of the fact that, I identify as this. You may identify as this, but the way God intended you to be, how you came out of your mama's womb, because it's only your mama.
On a medical level, I see. I'll be honest with you. I'm on the fence with a lot of this stuff because, first of all, like I said, and I started my little spiel that I totally support the transgender community. And like I said, I have a close girlfriend that I went to high school with, and she was a male, and now she's a female. So, and I know what journey she went through with the transition. But if I had time on my hands, I would really want to do some research on what's happening because they've existed for years. It's just that they had to be in the closet.
Right. Yeah.
And one thing on a spiritual level, I just feel like God doesn't make mistakes. So if there's and it seems like there's an influx of a lot of people feeling this way. So if there's an influx of a lot of people feeling this way, what's God's agenda? What was God's purpose of having a whole group of people feeling this way? But
I think it's in the food.
I was gonna say that. I think that the hormones that they're putting in a lot of these foods is the catalyst in this happening. Because we get an influx of a lot of people feeling this way, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. So it's like, okay, so what do you say to somebody who is not their fault for feeling this way, and they generally, and a lot of them are killing themselves because they were taught that it's not right, and their families are not accepting them, so they're like, there's no balance mentally. So a lot of them will choose to kill themselves instead of facing the demons, which are not really demons, because if there's a whole sea full of y'all that are feeling like this, then, and the problem is no one's really addressing it. It's just like, okay, that's what it is.
But see, that is not even my issue. My issue is the men, because of the fact that I have been abused by men before. I've been taken advantage of by men before. And even though these are now trans women, they were originally men who are now identifying as women, but trying to now tell us who we are. You know what I'm saying? And it feels kind of controlling, and you know what I mean? Kind of like, how are you going to tell me what I have and what I can do as a woman and who I am as a woman? And I feel like now you're trying to dominate who I am as a woman. You're trying to take away my womanhood.
Right.
Which is not fair to us.
And and that's why I said
you ain't got womanhood, you got peoplehood.
That's where
and I'm just like, and I'm not trying to take away who they are as a person at all. But like dude, like Shanah said, what she dealt with for her 40 years, like what Eve said, anybody that knows me and my journey, as far as my female journey, like I spoke to the guys on the other show for debate. Like, I honestly think that my miscarriage that I had was because I had a female child. Because I prayed to God that I never had a female child. And I honestly believe that I had a miscarriage because the child was female, because I never wanted a female child to go through the same female issues that I had growing up. because I had my period since I was 11 years old, and I literally hemorrhaged every single month.
Oh no.
I would throw up every single month.
I
have
fibroids.
9
years old.
Girl, fibroids. I had to have a hysterectomy at 38 years old. Yeah. Because my uterus was no longer viable. My uterus was like a sunken in basketball. You know what I mean? Come on, I had adenomyosis, endometriosis, and metastasized all around my colon, all through my organs. Like, come on now, and then you're gonna try to tell me who I am as a woman?
Those things don't make you a woman. At least that's what I've heard.
And then
you're not a woman, actually.
I'm not a natural
I'm not
woman.
a man. We're doctor assigned. That's the new one that I'm hearing. Doctor assigned. The doctor told you what you were at birth.
I don't like that. But I don't like that.
That's for you. That's what you want. That's what you feel. That's for you. I was born a girl. It said girl. I like being a girl. I like these.
These are not chest. I'm not chest feeding. I breastfed my kids.
You are killing me right now. Take me home.
These are some natural boobies.
Got milk.
And again, it goes back to that's where there will always be a fight, because it's just like you wanna call yourself what you want.
Sorry, Noey.
Do you? But don't change me.
Sorry, Noey.
Yeah.
Niggas is doing too much, man.
You know, we let you on the train. The train is already polished. It's pretty now. We done did the hard work.
But look at this. Look at this. We had to come over here and be raped on the ship, going through the door of no return, and then get on the ship, be locked in chains to tribes that we didn't know, and then get sold from our parents and our kids and our husbands, and then breastfeed somebody else's kids, be house niggas, field niggas, give birth in the field, and then come right back and then and pick cotton, and then
got your child ripped away from you and probably sold.
Child ripped, get raped by massa and them. Not be deemed as beautiful, then have to now be the help after Emancipation Proclamation. Now we got to be caretaker, your nanny, your housekeeper in the house, and still have all of your white women with the blonde hair, blue eyes, and see all of that as the vision of beauty. You know,
while you're probably miscarrying.
While we probably miscarrying. And then have to deal with our husbands coming home mad as hell because they got to deal with everything that's going on in the world, you know, and we still got to be mother and wife, and then deal with Jim Crow, civil rights movement. Then we finally get the women's lib. We get teased. Your big lip, nappy head Negro.
And we was considered circus people.
You know, we get teased. Your big lip,
man,
big booty, big hip, mamie, your nappy headed Negro. And then here come the 2000s, and here come the Kardashians. Ooh.
Taking all the money.
Taking all the money and all our men's. And then here come these trans women. You ain't no woman. Well, goddamn. Can we get a break?